Public. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. My name is Michael Evans, and you're listening to America's Voice Now. Thanks for joining with us today. We're going to be joined by Doreen Hannes at about quarter after. Doreen, as you know, is the tireless and relentless fighter for our property rights, freedoms, and agricultural issues. And she'll be joining us so we can chat about the Blue Way and the Department of Interior's rescission of that designation at quarter after. So stick with us, and you can help us celebrate how a group of hillbillies out here in the Ozarks whooped the federal government's hind end. Because that's exactly what we did, folks. And make no mistake about it, you got a lot to be proud of. This is an example of what a few dedicated and focused and motivated folks can do. Now, just imagine if there was 25 million of us that sat down in the middle of state and federal capitals and said, get out. Get out of our houses. Get out of our capital. Get out of our government. Big. So there are a couple of interesting stories out here this morning. New Gallup poll shows that Republicans are more proud to be American than Democrats. Now, imagine what that would be if Gallup actually polled average American patriots. Big. Conservatives are extremely or very proud. 89%. 7 moderately proud, and 3 only a little or not at all proud. I would have to say those are the ones who recognize that the nation is foundering. 86% of moderates are proud or extremely proud. Very proud or extremely proud. And 76% of liberals. No surprise there. Republicans, they all want to be, I guess, what, Chinese or Russian? I mean, I tell you what, I have a brand new idea. Let's offer, since, you know, we spend money like water around here, and we embarrass drunken sailors with our own example of drunken sailors on the spending bar, why don't we offer to fly those liberals on a one-way ticket anywhere they want to go? Those who think this is the wrong place to be, I got a perfect solution for you. We'll get you a visa, we'll get you a passport, and we'll fly you one way wherever you want to go. 93% of Republicans, 81% of independents, and 85% of Democrats. So it's kind of interesting. That was a 4th of July poll. And, I'm not a big fan of the poll thing in the first place. I think a lot of that is hogwash. But, because I think they're all twisted and tweaked anyhow. But, the simple truth is this. Everything that government can get their hands on, they're doing wrong. Yesterday, a story came out in the New York Times. It was actually July 3rd, but the New York Times published a story that the U.S. Postal Service is now monitoring your snail mail. Not email, but your snail mail. A New York resident in Buffalo, Leslie James Pickering, he found something odd in his mailbox. It was a handwritten card, apparently delivered by mistake, with instructions for postal workers to pay special attention to the letters in the packages sent to that person's home. The card, which appears in the New York Times story, read, "Show all mail to supervisor for copying prior to going out on the street." Pickering's name was written on the card, as well as the word confidential, written in green ink. Apparently, Pickering was the unwitting target of a long-time surveillance system the Times calls mail covers. Doesn't stop there. This snail mail surveillance has been a tool of law enforcement for literally well over 100 years. Where's the whistleblowers on that? You mean to tell me in 100 years, not one postal representative has the courage to come forward and spill the beans? The program is called the Mail Isolation Control and Tracking. The Postal Service computers photograph the exterior of every piece of mail that's delivered, by the way, in the United States. They do that now, and they've been doing that, of course, since technology allows. But that's 160 billion pieces of mail. And no one knows how long they save this image. No one knows what they get, what they do with them, who's getting them. When you combine that with the NSA and the FBI scandals and the IRS scandals, they're keeping every form of communication, including postal mail. And all of it without what, folks? What's the key operative word here? Probable cause. That's right. That is... Now, for the record, by the way, I just want you to remember something. Recently, and I put this up on our Facebook and our Facebook page and our website. Recently, there was a general in the NSA who sat and argued with a reporter and swore that the term probable cause does not appear in the Fourth Amendment. And the reporter said, "Well, sir, it does." And he said, No. The NSA, if there's one amendment we really understand and know very well, it's the Fourth. So let me read it for you for the record, just to correct Mr. General. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers. Oh, that would cover mail, wouldn't it? And effects. And that would cover email, cell phones, let's see, home phones, internet searches. Yeah, all of that. Against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. Key operative word, shall not be violated. And no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Okay, so let me read that to you one more time, but without my commentary. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Let's see. Does it appear to anyone listening that we're following that? Because I don't hear it. I mean, where's the probable cause to scan your mail, to photograph every piece, to look through it in accordance with this New York Times article? And why would they monitor this guy's mail and packages? Where's the probable cause to go through your email? Where's the probable cause to go through your cell phone records? Where's the probable cause to track who you're calling and when you're calling under metadata that all Americans apparently seem to be willing to lay down and accept? Because they're going to keep us safe. Yeah, really. Let me tell you something. You got a bigger chance of being killed by your own government than you do some Islamic extremist. We'll be back in just a minute.
Most of us will agree that a toothbrush and toothpaste are very low-cost items when compared to major dental repair work. We just know that it's much less painful to maintain with good dental hygiene and checkups than let things go and see what happens. The same is true with vehicle maintenance. Following recommended fluid maintenance schedules and replacing filters before a problem develops is much more cost-efficient than dealing with a transmission or engine breakdown. Stop by or call Don's Auto Service to schedule the services recommended for your vehicle, 1618 Porter Wagner Boulevard, or 417-256-2752.
Hi, I'm Scott Corman, President of Community First. We want to be your bank. We believe in the strength of our communities, businesses, families, and future. We're not just locally owned, but community owned. And we operate today just as we started, by living up to our name, putting you and our communities first.
Living up to our name, community first, banking company.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, guess what? It's Friday. You know what that means? Doreen's in the house.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo. Hey, what's up, baby?
I don't know, not much. Just hanging at my crib.
There you
I
go.
can't do that garbage, Mike.
Hanging in the crib. Unfortunately, in your case, that actually does mean a crib.
I'm not quite that reverted.
No, I mean a crib where you keep animal feed and you house your animals. That's
those kind of cribs.
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, be DJ back 40 here. There you go.
DJ back 40. I love
Say
that.
hey ho.
You know, well, actually, just think about it. SNL could do an amazing parody with that, right? And
sure.
take somebody like, you know, a farmer couple, right? Or what's that famous couple that does that's in that picture where he's holding a pitchfork and he's standing next to the wife? You know?
Grant somebody, yeah.
Right. You could take that couple and do an amazing parody on rap.
You sure could. It would be a blast. It would all be hey ho, you know.
Right, exactly. Where's Dennis Miller when we need him, right?
He's coming on later, I think. He's probably still sleeping.
That's true. Well, I think he lives in California, so
probably
he is probably snoozing away the day as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
either that or up on eating granola. I don't know.
Right, something. You know, I wanted to, and yesterday was the 4th, so we didn't talk about it, and I wanted to kind of really touch on this Blue Ways thing today, because I want the folks who are listening to us, who have been dedicated about picking up the phone, writing letters, calling their senator and their congresspeople, making sure that they're working within the state, contacting their state commissioners, and calling their state officials. I want these people to understand just how effective this process was in making sure that they rescinded this Blue Way designation, and the Department of the Interior did. And so I wanted to kind of have you drop that good bomb.
Have some good news for a change.
This isn't a dirty bomb. This is a good bomb.
No, I mean, Mike, I'll tell you what. The people of the Ozarks are the best people in the whole country.
Salt of the earth.
The people in this particular area have been, due to the actions of people well before you or I, Mike, have been fairly well educated on Agenda 21, its implementation process, the methodologies involved, and frankly, we just ain't putting up with it. And this shows a thing that I always pound upon, Mike, which is it all comes down to the consent of the governed, and it does not matter what regime you are under. The consent of the governed is the dominant thing. And so we were blessed to have not only the people making the phone calls, but the elected officials at the county, state, and even at the federal level interpose and actually use their positions properly.
Right.
And hold an agency's feet to the fire so that the will of the public had to be adhered to. And, I want to personally thank everybody who took the time to make the phone calls, go to their county commissioners' meetings, to, stay in contact with their representatives, with their duly elected officials, and to work really hard on this. I mean, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who just basically quit everything else and started pouring their time into this.
Took it upon themselves.
Yes, and and that is what freedom's about. That's eternal vigilance, and unfortunately, in today's world, we have to have that. And there needs to be like a 10-minute citizen every single day. Every person who cares about the future of not only their well-being, but their children and their grandchildren's well-being needs to take the time and activate on a particular item that is important to them, whether it's taking 10 minutes to write an email to an elected official, 10 minutes to, distribute information that is pertinent and political in nature. 10 minutes from every person who cares would make a difference. So we made a difference on the Blue Wave. The particular designation was rescinded. However, we have to get the whole order overturned, the whole executive order that establishes the National Blue Waves, because as I started out, the people in the Ozarks are very special people. They're very dedicated people. They do love where they live.
I'm going to tell you, I got a theory about that, and I'm going to tell you what it is.
Okay.
I think that one of the differences and one of the reasons why people out here in the central of the United States and the Midwest and down here in the Ozarks in particular are so dedicated to fighting this kind of thing is when I say they're the salt of the earth, to me that means something more than just, good homegrown people. It means they got their feet on the ground, but not only on the ground, but in the dirt. And what it means is that they don't have and haven't been seduced by a lot of the things that society offers to distract you from recognizing, one, that there's a problem, and two, taking action about it. In other words, you got these folks that live in suburbia happy land, and all they're interested in is, what do I got to do to find a place to go eat tonight, or what's on TV, and they're so distracted. And they've been so seduced by, oh my goodness, there's a brand new Lexus out there, and I've got to get that one. I got to trade this one in.
Right.
That they're not really. They're living in a little Matrix-like fantasy land that doesn't exist. And
right.
I mean, you can only keep that rolling for so long. The folks here and hardworking, and I don't mean to say this in a negative way, but hand-to-mouth Americans who deal with the grassroots every day, those are the true grassroots. Those are the people that are willing to say, I'm going to put some time aside today and do this. I'm going to have not faux outrage, but true righteous moral outrage, right? Mm-hmm. Or ethical outrage or societal outrage. And they're correct. But they haven't been seduced by the distractions and the financial chase, if you will, that so many people in suburban and urban markets are. I see that difference. And the only reason I say that is because I've lived in those places and I've lived here. And I see the clear and stark difference. And I got to tell you, it's as stark as one side of the paper from, colored differently from the other side of the paper. It is truly, truly amazing.
Well, and a lot of people are kind of transplants here, and they're transplants because
they want to be here.
Yeah, they've basically experienced the concrete jungle, if you will, and don't like it.
Yeah, I've been there. And I grew up in New Jersey and New York City. You can't get more concrete jungle than that, kids.
I'm sorry. I pity you, man.
And, well, listen, I had a lot of life experiences that kind of helped to formulate, too, who I am today, right? So, I mean, there's a yes and a no to that. But by the same token, this is the place I choose to be, which says a lot for this place. Right?
Yes.
I mean,
Indeed.
I could go back to living in a more urban environment, not even New York or something, but another major city. I lived near Philadelphia and worked in Philadelphia a lot too. The point is, I would never go back to that existence again. And my sole function is, I've got to go out there and cut my postage stamp today, and your sole focus is, oh boy, let's go to Home Depot and see how much money we can spend to keep up with our neighbor who just put up a brass lantern, and we have to have one too.
Oh, brother.
You get my point?
Yeah, I get it.
It's Saturday. I've got to spend all day washing my car. Let me tell you something. I have never washed my truck. I've driven it through the car wash a couple of times when it was so dirty I couldn't see if I didn't. And, but that's the extent of it, right? I'm not one of those people. But the world is full of those folks. And they spend their now our folks, on the other hand, after they get done with their morning chores, spend a Saturday picking up the phone or writing a letter or sending off an email. That's the difference. Instead of going out and washing their truck.
Well, some people wash their trucks, but if you're like me and you live down 4.5 miles of gravel, it's it can be rather futile unless it just misted rained and keeps the dust down. Then you can have a clean vehicle for a day or two.
You said something earlier that I really liked, and that is that these people here have spent a lot of folks here during this Blue Ways thing took a couple of minutes a day to work on this issue.
Yes.
I got this, we should start a new club called the New Minutemen.
There you go.
And what it would be is patriots who will commit to spending, say 10 minutes a day, right? Which isn't really, when you think about the totality of that total time clock in your life, it's nothing. Mm-hmm. But spend 10 minutes a day doing something that is an effectual watchdog effort on America, right? Or something that's patriotic towards achieving the goal of finding new candidates for the new republic, finding, or working towards resolving something like this Blue Way or whatever. Pick whatever topic you like, but do something every day for 10 minutes. And let's start a club called the New Minutemen. I actually really like the idea of that.
I think it's great. Now,
there's no dues, by the way.
No, it's a timeshare. There you go.
There you go.
The thing is that with the Blue Ways issue, we won a huge battle, but we didn't win this war. And the reason that I think that this is terribly important, that we don't just go, yay, now we can rest, is that if we don't get this entire secretarial order overturned, Mike, it's going to grab us like a cancer.
Right.
Okay, we got it eradicated from right here.
Yeah.
However, at $5 a year for 5 years, 25 of them in the Minnesota Blue Way PDF, it shows a huge chunk of the country. If you include Alaska, it's about half of the nation that's going to be Blue Way, according to their plans. So if we don't get this order overturned, it's going to come at us in full force from either side.
Right.
Because, like I said,
and then they'll just come back to us and call it the Greenway or some other thing.
Yeah, they do have the greenways, the trailways.
Right.
It's all of these things under the America's Great Outdoors initiative.
One thing I can say for the record is we've completely destroyed the term Blue Ways. They'll never be able to fool anybody with it again.
Yes.
There's so much information out there on the internet now that when somebody in Wyoming types in Blue Way, they're going to be like, holy smoke, we got to stop this now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but
and we gave them a plan on how to do it, by the way.
Yes, we did. And actually, part of that I'm going to continue to post on PRC News, and that's going to be all the resolutions. I did one post with some of the letters and, some of the information. But, yes, we have to have a map for people to effectively fight against this. Now, this has been different from any of the other issues that we've taken on in that there was absolutely no capacity for public or elected official input,
right.
Totally bypassing, our process. I mean, entirely.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we can talk a little bit more about this and maybe take some of your calls. You're listening to America's Voice. We're speaking with Doreen Hannes this morning, as we do every Friday. Make sure that you get a chance to see Doreen's website at truthfarmer.com. That's truthfarmer.com. We'll be back in just a moment.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. Testimony from Trayvon Martin's mother at the George Zimmerman murder trial. Sabrina Fulton says that's her son heard screaming for help on 911 tapes.
Ma'am, that screaming or yelling, do you recognize that?
Yes.
And who do you recognize that to be, ma'am?
Trayvon Benjamin Martin.
Zimmerman told police that's him screaming during the struggle before shooting in self-defense. The June jobs numbers are out from the Labor Department. Employers taking more people on.
195,000, much more than expected. The unemployment rate unchanged at 7.6%. Government cut 7,000 jobs last month, mainly in the federal government, down 5,000.
Fox Business Network's Peter Barnes in D.C. The unemployment rate stays the same because more people are looking for work now, so they get counted. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Get a hold of Brian down at Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. You can call him at 870-492-4030, or you can find him on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. Located a half-mile east of Walmart and Route 62 in Mountain Home. My friends over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery at 255-2253, number 2 Evans Arcade off the square in West Plains. Best damn bakery in 100 miles. You can reach Mary at 255-2253. My friend Bill Stone over at Stone Construction at 293-0116. Whether remodeling or doing new or custom construction or light commercial, Bill's the guy for you. 293-0116. West Plains Pawn and Gun, located on Route 160, just about a mile east of Walmart on the right-hand side. westplainspawn.com. You can also reach them by a telephone at 417-256-3000. Friends over at the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue, right off the square in West Plains. You can find them on the web at batterystation.com, and you can call them at 417-257-7799. Also, don't forget to stop by Pizza Hut for an outstanding lunch special between 11 and 2. Salad and pasta all together. You can also visit them on Tuesday evenings for family night. Kids eat free under 12. And Jason over at Wits End Classic Barbershop, the sponsor of our telephone line. Make sure that you see Wits End Classic Barbershop for your next shave and a haircut. Outstanding, fine young man and a great patriot as well. He's on the square in West Plains.
The Battery Station in West Plains is your headquarters for getting and being prepared. Natural disasters, civil unrest, personal and family protection, long-term sustenance, and most importantly, peace of mind. Berkey bottles and home-sized water purification systems, survival food, MREs, freeze-dried food, survival knives, lanterns, ammunition, military sleep system, and of course, batteries of all shapes and sizes. Take charge of your own survival and security. The Battery Station, 303 Washington and West Plains, 417-257-7799 or batterystation.com.
Weather sponsorships are now available on News Talk 107.1 The Point. Get more information, email info@diamondmediaradio.com for complete details.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we'll have a partly cloudy sky, mostly sunny through the day with a slight chance for a thunderstorm, high 84. Partly cloudy tonight, low 62. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 86. Sunshine Sunday, high 88. I'm staff meteorologist Jim Rinaldi, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
Coast to Coast AM brings the Ozarks a whole new feel for radio. Midnight to 6 a.m. every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point. Where else would you get callers talking about everything from UFOs to war trends, from mental energy to anomalies, and from lost knowledge to aliens? Listen to experts and researchers who are part of the guest list every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk. Don't miss Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Midnight to 6 a.m. every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point.
All right, welcome back. You know, we be the doers, folks. Let me tell you something. This is, and you're listening to, a a group of individuals who are doers. Put myself in that mix. I'm just telling you that this is these folks who fought and beat this Blue Ways thing back are the doers, right? Everybody else is an armchair general. But I'm going to tell you that folks like Doreen and Bob Parker, who, by the way, if you didn't vote for Bob Parker, boy, did you miss your shot, because he was one of the leaders to try to defeat this thing, along with Doreen and Ike Skelton and a couple of other folks. And I got to tell you, this is the kind of stuff he does when he's not elected. What the heck do you think he would have done when he was? Susan has come on the line, and I want to bring her on with us for a quick second. She's got something she wants to talk with us about immigration. But, Susan is a perfect example of one of the new Minutemen. And I'm telling you, Doreen, I want to talk about this when we get a second. The new Minutemen, you brought this up earlier, and I'm gonna run with this idea for a minute. The new Minutemen, a patriotic timeshare. Mm-hmm. And that means that you do your part every day to be a patriot, right? So, Sue, you are our first inductee.
Well, that's first of anything.
Well, this is and not only that, but you're our first official inductee. But you've been volunteering all along. You just didn't have an official title.
Do I get
It's a voluntary mandatory freedom initiative.
Right. It's kind of like the draft. So you've volunteered yourself,
yes.
Wittingly or unwittingly, and so fire away. You had something you wanted to bring to our attention on immigration.
Okay, last night on Hannity, he had a man who's put together a movie. His name is Dennis Michael Lynch. It's on immigration. He went down to the border at risk for himself, and he made the name of this movie is The Cost of Amnesty. And if you go to his website, They Came to America 2, that's a Roman numeral 2.com. If you buy one of these movies, he'll send you 5 more free. And he said that if our Senate had seen this movie before they voted on immigration, they would not have voted on it. So we have to get them to our representatives before they even start talking about it.
Okay, so They Came to America in Roman numeral 2. So
they come to America.
Oh, come to America.
They come to America, Roman numeral 2.com.
Okay, so it's They Come to America, capital I.com.
Yes.
Got
it. The name of the movie is The Cost of Amnesty.
Okay.
And the gist of it was all the Middle Eastern people and the Chinese that are sneaking in among the Mexicans that are really the terrorists.
Yeah, people have no idea. They think immigration is all the Mexican border. Folks, half of it it has nothing to do with South America or the southern border. Half of it is folks coming in from Asia, European nationals, African nationals, and what's that?
Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern, and they're coming in here on a visa to go for education or vacation or whatever the case may be, probation, and then they stay.
Yes.
And we have no idea who they are, where they are, where they're staying, how they're earning a living while they're here or otherwise. And so, these are the terrorists that we really have to worry about. That and the terrorists that are housed in Washington in that 10 square mile area. But go ahead.
Well, I've lost my train of thought here.
The Cost of Amnesty, They Came to America 2.com.
Yes. And I'm guessing that if we pay for one and he's going to send us 5 extras, that we'll be at liberty to burn some more.
Yeah, that's a good point. What would be nice is if we could hold some public showings of this thing.
Yes.
Around the nation.
Yeah.
So anyone who wants to join the new Minuteman, a patriotic timeshare club, there's no dues except your time. And this would be a great way to start. You go on there, you spend however much it is to buy a copy of this thing, and get 5 extra copies and distribute them to people who are of influence that you think will benefit from this. But in addition to that, maybe distribute them out to 5 other people that you know who can show it publicly at some little civic event, or maybe just maybe go to your VFW hall or go to your church, show it in your church, or show it in your vets hall or whatever. I mean, maybe show it at your school.
I have one more little kicker that he threw in.
Okay.
He can't find theaters in this country who will allow him to show it because they're afraid of the demonstrations that would follow.
Right.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is shameful. Talk about censorship by the minority. I mean, that's insane. Wow. You know, Susan, you are the epitome of one of the new Minutemen.
I'll take that.
And you'll have to forgive our politically incorrect commitment that you are under the men. We're not going to say New Minute people, I promise you.
I'll take men.
I promise you,
human,
this,
right?
this will not be the New Minute people.
Nope.
It's the new Minutemen.
Yes.
And if you don't like to be labeled under Minutemen because you're a woman, you're listening to the wrong radio station.
I would agree.
Or the wrong radio guy, I'll say. I don't want to throw everybody under the bus.
Thanks, Ty. Thanks, Mike.
So, and you know what? You have more than done your patriotic minute per day. I know what you do, and I'm telling you, folks, she is the epitome and the example that all of us should be following. So make sure that you are, doing the kind of work that she does. She is a relentless fighter on this Common Core stuff, this immigration stuff, and I got to applaud your efforts. I mean, you came out of nowhere and just went you're like a whirling dervish.
Shoot, I found you on the radio one morning. That's all it was.
Well, I'm not going to take credit for your...
No, and then I met you at Go Green an hour later. That cinched it.
You know what's funny? I met Dirk and Bob Parker that same day at Go Green.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Dirk walked up to me, and I introduced myself, and I grabbed one of Bob Parker's brochures off a table, and he said, "Are you that guy that did the radio show this morning?" Because I introduced myself, and he heard my voice,
I heard your voice.
And I said, "Yeah," and he said, "Oh my goodness," and that was it. From there on, we kind of got. It's funny how people hear your voice, and of course I'm not on television or anything, so they don't know what you look like. They just hear your voice, and you're like, "Hey, you're that guy who does that radio show."
Yeah. So Bob Parker.
Yes, guilty.
Bob Parker and I are on the same day with you. That's good.
There you go. So I'm telling you, I applaud your efforts, and I think you are a shining paragon and an example to others to do exactly what you've been working at. So thank you very much for your efforts.
You're welcome.
We're going to call you Ensign Minutemen now.
Oh, no, now we get names, ranks, and serial numbers?
Oh.
No, we don't need to know your serial number.
You probably already do.
But you know what? And if you want to look at it from this perspective, I hate to play it, but play that theory. But if you want to play that tape to the end, she has already set the example and can be a leader of a small group of other folks that are in her area to say, hey, what did you do today? And maybe help to kind of spread the good cancer. That's what we need in America. We need a good cancer to destroy the bad cancer.
We need to plant a lot of seeds.
Well,
yeah, we need a lot of detox.
Exactly. We could start with 50 million Americans who have the courage to go march on Washington and eradicate the disease, like white blood cells going after the bad.
Number keeps going up.
Kind of like what they're doing in Egypt.
Yeah, I mean, what is up with America? The Egyptians are showing us up. Somebody, I think it was Dirk this morning, put on the Facebook page. It says, it's one of those images. It says, "Enough talk. It's time we Americans walk like the Egyptians."
Yeah.
And I'm like, boy, is that perfect or what?
If the Egyptians can, we can too.
Exactly.
Yes, we can.
Right, exactly. Obama says, yes, we scan, and we say, yes, we can.
Right.
So we ought to turn the tables on them.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much.
You're quite welcome.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Susan.
Hold on 1 second. I got so many phone calls lining up here. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Mike and Doreen, it's Mike. And,
hey, Mike.
First time we met was that same day at Go Green.
Yeah. That was a fateful day, apparently.
It was a good one, and Doreen was a speaker that day.
That's right.
I just wanted to do a quick plug here. Anyone who wants to be a 1-minute patriot, and join Susan Monday night, 6 o'clock at the Spring Dipper in Mammoth Spring.
Yep.
Our PRC group here. And we will have representatives from Roy Blunt's office, Jason Smith's office. Jeff Pogue will be there. He called yesterday, by the way, to pass on his congratulations to all of us for the Blue Way defeat.
And that's another action that we need to take. We need to thank the officials who acted in their proper capacity, and Jeff Pogue was one of those.
Right.
Yes. And Peter Kinder, the lieutenant governor, helped us. He will be there in person to take questions, and we can all thank him.
And God only knows we have few enough of those. I mean, shoot, we could probably write those letters by hand in less than a minute because we don't really have enough to, to really make it a job. It would almost be a distraction just to,
Well, if we included all of the 3 county commissioners in the 17 counties that passed resolutions,
right,
it might take a while.
But where were the state and federal watchdogs who should have been on the lookout to see this thing coming? That's my point. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. Mike, thanks for that update.
Thank you.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take some more of your phone calls, and Doreen and I can flesh out this new Minuteman, a Patriotic Timeshare project. I really like it, Doreen, and I'm giving you credit for it. So it was your idea. Hang on 1 second, folks. We'll be right back.
Mission Control, this is Stan Sputnik.
Dan, this 2013 FCC report on Internet service says Exceed is #1 for delivering advertised speeds.
Well, sir, Exceed Internet is 4 times faster than average DSL. Did you know DSL stands for disturbingly slow load times?
Keep it professional, Stan.
Right, sir. Can I come home now?
Stan, we need you up there to maintain these super fast 12 meg speeds. Now, let's check in with our local Earth-based Exceed dealer.
Faith Enterprises, 1001 West Broadway in West Plains, or call 417-257-1803.
If you're looking for great deals on iPads or Kindles, look no further than your neighborhood Radio Shack authorized sales center. They've got great deals on the latest iPads and Kindles. Maybe you need a new GPS or an MP3 player to get your music library ready for those barbecues. Whatever your electronic needs, stop by your local neighborhood Radio Shack authorized dealer in West Plains at 1408 Southern Hills Shopping Center, or call 417-256-1819. One of the secrets to success in heirloom gardening is keeping quality seed. Learn the basics of saving seeds July 11th at 6 p.m. at the Charles Ferguson Building in downtown Willow Springs. An expert from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds will present information and will be available to answer questions. Mark your calendar for July 11th, 6 p.m. at the Charles Ferguson Building in downtown Willow Springs.
Coast to Coast AM brings the Ozarks a whole new feel for radio. Midnight to 6 a.m. every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point. Where else would you get callers talking about everything from UFOs to war trends, from mental energy to anomalies, and from lost knowledge to aliens? Listen to experts and researchers who are part of the guest list every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk. Don't miss Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Midnight to 6 a.m. every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point.
All right, we're back, and without further delay, we're going to bring. I want to just have one other caller on here. Go ahead, Glenn. I'm sorry.
Good morning, Michael.
Yes.
I don't know about a member of the Minutemen. I prefer to think of myself more along the lines of the irregular militia.
Okay. And that's okay, by the way. You can be a Minuteman and a militia member. And I encourage I'm telling you right now, I request everyone find out more about our state militia and participate and join. Because it's not enough that we're politically active. You should be out there working, training, educating yourself and others about the militaristic aspects of being a defender of our republic. Because promise you folks, at some point, just look around you, this isn't going to go pretty. I mean, they signed FEMA signed a deal with the Russian government to provide security for U.S. national scope events. Right. You got to be flipping kidding me. I mean, we just cut out 80,000 of our own military guys, combat battalions. We just cut them loose. 80,000 combat hardened men, and we're cutting a deal with the Russians to provide security. Let me tell you something. I'll tell you what. You see a foreign government operating on this soil to act as security or to institute some kind of political terroristic activity in this country. That would be an invasion force. And mark my words, that's what it will be, an invasion force. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Man,
that's okay.
My ears are...
A lot of people don't realize we do have a state militia, an organized, sanctioned by the state of Missouri militia.
Legal, by the way.
Yes, legal.
Okay.
And I've talked to a lot of people about that. They don't realize that.
Where can they find out more about it, Glenn?
Yeah.
Where can they find out more about it, Glenn?
There's a website, and the state has a website for it.
Okay.
You go on there. Missouri, punch in Missouri militia. I started out by looking at Michigan militia because I knew they used to teach seminars up there on the subject.
Yeah.
And I come across it, and it's there.
Well, I know Bob Parker was talking to them and trying to help them kind of organize it a little bit down in this area. And maybe we can get you and Bob to work together to make sure that we've got that prominently displayed on everybody's Facebook page, everybody's, websites and so forth and so on, and make it an open invitation to be part of the Missouri militia. And that comes with free membership in the new Minutemen, a patriotic timeshare.
It does require some training and some fairly intensive training on occasions. I know that by using a website.
As long as it doesn't involve biometrics at all.
Right. And shouldn't we be prepared to train? I mean, isn't that part of what it means to take back our nation? You should be training yourself not only mentally but physically, right? We should be training ourselves mentally to be good candidates, find good candidates, qualify and vet good new candidates, and to be make sure that we are qualified to be those candidates. That means educating yourself about constitutional duties and obligations, but also it means making sure that you're working towards, finding others that are situated like that. And this is a perfect way to do that, but you also have to physically train. It's called whole body.
Mind and body.
Whole body and mind.
Ideal.
So, thank you very much, Glenn. I appreciate that update, and that's a great addition.
That really wasn't what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay. Fire away.
On the side subject. I was perusing your website last night, of course, both the .org and Facebook, and I come across some information that people were talking about the Firearms Preservation Act may indeed violate portions of the First Amendment stuff. And there are papers raising a big stink about that. But my point about this is that in law there are indeed restrictions for it already. Juvenile victims are restricted. Rape victims, TRO orders are all kept from the court, from the purview of the press. And so there's certainly a precedent for that. And raising that issue is just a smokescreen.
I hear you. Well, it's my personal opinion that where we stand right now is so far outside the scope and the boundary that I can't even begin to contemplate where we're headed if we don't begin to resolve this immediately, if not sooner.
Right.
So.
Well, I don't want to. Now, I still believe that it's the consent of the governed, and right now,
it is. But the governed have to speak up.
And talk are still mightier than the sword. But we have to be prepared.
Right. Well,
and if we're not, then we get rolled over.
But you know what? The best defense is a good offense, and that's both on the concept of using the pen, which is mightier than the sword, and also simultaneously making sure that your sword is sharpened.
Right.
Right? So, the idea is you shouldn't have to pull it, but if you do, it's ready to be used if need be.
Yes, and you should pull it reluctantly, but if you're going to use it and you pulled it, it's time to go to work.
There you go. So, I think at this point, it's a foregone conclusion that the plans they have for us are either going to be thwarted by us or we're going to be the victims of them.
Right.
Really. And you know what? Somebody told me that there was a thing in one of the local papers. It was, one of these letters to the editor that kind of, we're not at war. Evans is always saying we're at war. We are at war. We are at war in so many different aspects. We're in a spiritual war. We're in a psychological war. We're in an ideological war. We are in a war on terror. And right now we are the victims of the terror. Mm-hmm. We are in a war for freedom. We're in so many different, and it just because it's soft tyranny and soft terror doesn't mean it's not there. I
don't know that we could actually say that we're at peace. We've got we've got so many affronts from our government, from these agencies against our Constitution, continual overreaching on their part to control us. I mean, reading everything that we have. It should have been a clue prior to the entire divulging of the phone call keeping on the NSA and the FBI and their scandals. All of these scandals. They had that event down in New Orleans, and they shut down and scanned everybody's cell phones. Boom, like that.
Right. We
scanned all the cell phone calls within X amount of radius, and it's like, oh my gosh, snap.
Yeah.
You know. So, and the fallback position is if you don't have anything to hide, why should you be worried? Well, you know, I mean, I like to have a little bit of privacy.
And not to mention the fact that I got to tell you something, and the asinine aspect of that statement is simply this: if you look at and you don't have to go far back in history, less than 100 years, every totalitarianistic government that steps in does the first thing they do is wipe out the religious and the intellectuals.
Right. Well,
so that means that unless you're a dumb sheep, you are on the chopping block. So if you consider
get rid of potential resistance.
Well, the educated and those who are educators, because they present a risk if you go out there. I mean, why do you think that it was illegal for slaves to read, people? Why do you think that it was illegal for slaves to own a firearm? Do the math yourself. You don't have to have a poli-sci degree to draw the correlations here. So, you know, that whole argument of, well, I don't do anything wrong. No, but if you're a teacher, if you're an educator, if you've ever written something, if you have influence somewhere, you are a threat. And they'll take that information to make you into something you might not have been. And trust me, I can tell you from personal experience, the prisons are full of innocent people. They're not loaded. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's innocent. I'm telling you that the number of people that are would shock the average American. And the number of people that are in there for crimes that aren't real crime, only because some tyrannical monster made it a crime, is just as high. So, listen, folks, don't give me that, well, I don't do anything wrong, so I'm an innocent guy anyway. I got nothing to worry about. Okay, great. You sit there like an idiot, and then at some point in time, they'll use whatever they've got against you to manufacture something.
Right. Well, I'm in the habit of regularly thinking unregulated thoughts without a license, so I'm obviously a criminal.
That's it. You think for yourself, therefore you are a criminal.
Well, and you know, unfortunately, the foundations of this country turned on their head. You know, it's all been turned on its head. It's all upside down. The feds are over the states. It shouldn't be that way. The states are over the people. It shouldn't be that way. You know, We've got everything twisted upside down. We live in upside down land.
The pyramid of liberty has been inverted, right? It's supposed to be a pyramid has the peak at the top that is the individual. And that's where that's what the government is founded upon, the rights of the individual. And that individual comes before, as it widens, the mass rights and so forth and so on. What they've done is flip this around so that at the top is now government, and at the bottom is the individual who's holding up the weight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you.
You know, so anyway, I mean, I think that the thing to focus on today, Mike, is that the fact of the matter still exists. It doesn't matter where you live. It's consent to the governed. And if now I don't espouse anarchy at all.
Me neither.
I really don't.
That's why I think our Tea Parties and our Constitution Party and our Libertarian parties should be out there seeking out and vetting candidates every single day, so that when this thing does turn, we've got a position of fallback to say we're not going to allow any vacuum in government. We've got people prepared to step in. 10,000 true patriotic Americans who will sacrifice their own time and do this voluntarily to step up and say, I will serve.
Right.
Voluntarily. No money associated with it, people. I mean, there'll be enough to cover your expenses so you're not going to lose your house, but this is nonsense about we're paying you $195,000 a year to be my king.
Right.
I mean, please.
with a lifelong retirement.
There you go. Thank you, Doreen.
Exactly.
We're out of time today, folks. We'll
All
see
right.
you tomorrow morning. Blessings
Bye-bye.
to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is KBMB Birch Tree is the Ozarks best news talk 24 hours.